Do you miss the huge scale chaos of Supreme Commander? Well, if so, then this is the video for you. I've got 4 games for your consideration today, 2 that you can play right now, and 2 you can keep your eye on for 2026. Now, I get it, Ashes isn't exactly Supreme Commander 1-to-1 or anything, but it does hit similar beats, and I'm sure it'll click for a lot of you out there looking for something to scratch that itch. Ashes 2 was announced just a few months ago for a 2026 release, and it's perhaps one of the more unexpected sequels that I can remember in my time being involved with games. It's not that Ashes 1 was bad or anything, but it wasn't a critical darling or anything like that, and I wasn't aware of it being a big moneymaker for Oxide or Stardock, but hey, maybe it was. I guess it did become the de facto benchmark game for quite a while there, as it was one of the first titles to utilise some specific features of the newly introduced DirectX 12, such as asynchronous compute, which allowed GPUs to parallelise tasks similar to CPUs. Of course, it's way more complicated than that, but that's the simple version. And that was all quite a while ago. Ashes 1 released in 2016 after all. But now, 10 years later, we'll be getting a sequel, and over the past few days, I've been playing a pre-alpha build of it, kindly sent to me by Stardock to try out. And I should clarify at the start here, pre-alpha in this case does mean pre-alpha in the truest sense. I mean, where do I start? Visually, it doesn't stack up to its predecessor just yet. Performance is just okay. Bugs are pretty common. Visual glitches pop up quite often as well. There's only the one faction. You can't change your team color, and there's this weird bug where it tells you to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Yeah, you get the idea. And be aware that none of this is a slight against the game. I just want to make it really clear that what you're seeing right now is not indicative of the final product, and things will be changing for the better as development goes on. One thing I'm not 100% sure about with Ashes 2 is where it's positioned in regard to its predecessor. I've been told it's a sequel, and the title of the game certainly indicates that, but it's set in an earlier time period, and the addition of the third faction, being the humans, makes me feel like it's a prequel, as the humans are long gone in Ashes 1. From what I've found, Ashes 2 is set in the 2050s, while Ashes 1 was set in the 2170s. Either way, I'm sure we'll find out for sure at some point, and hey, maybe it's tied into the campaign or something. Maybe we're doing time travel. What is much more important here though, is that new faction, the humans. This is the only one that's available in the build right now, and I really like how Oxide have made them somewhat believable in this near future setting. The idea is that all of the nations of Earth have basically banded together to fight against these other 2 groups, who are the factions from the first game. And so you've got a mix of units that are inspired by current military hardware from different countries. You've got the Leopard 4 as the main battle tank, for example, while the F-47 and B-32 are the standard fighter and bomber respectively. I know there's probably not many of you out there who really care about this stuff, but hey, I do, and if you are in fact like me, I hope you're as glad as I am to see little details like this. We're yet to see any gameplay info on the other factions just yet, though I think there was a live stream happening about now or a day or 2 ago that may have shown that. But if you're not familiar with the Ashes universe, here's a quick rundown. The AI substrate are led by what is essentially a rogue AGI, and the Post-Human Coalition are a group of 50 or so people who have uploaded their brains into the metaverse. Basically, if Elon Musk and his cronies jumped into Mark's metaverse and created an army that can threaten the lesser humans who aren't on their level. Oh, and they also built that turbo AI that wants to kill everyone. Nice job, guys. As mentioned earlier, gameplay in Ashes 2 is similar to Supreme Commander in a few ways. There is the streaming resource economy, strategic zoom to view the entire map in a second, and the potential for thousands of units on screen at any one time. The strategy of how you play is different though. You expand your territory by capturing regions, and each one gives you a certain number of build slots for your factories and mining rigs, so you need to capture more and more lest you be left behind. In my time with Ashes 2, I've played against the AI, though only in 1v1s. There seems to be an issue with 2v2 games, at least for me, where my entire game just disappears when you start it. But oh well, 1v1's fine, because the AI is surprisingly smart, to the point where it was genuinely surprising me with its strategies. Like, look here, it straight up baited me while it snuck around a force around the edge of the map and wiped me out, to great success. Or here, where they countered my squads of tanks with the perfect air unit that I couldn't shoot down. Yeah, not bad, Ashes 2 AI, not bad at all. While there are obviously issues with the game right now thanks to its pre-alpha status, I quite enjoyed the time I've spent with it this week. I never really played Ashes 1, so I had no proper expectations coming into this, but I was pleasantly surprised. The gameplay was fun and unique, and I really like its focus on strategy rather than APM, and I'm excited to see how the three factions play once they're all implemented. Apparently they're going to be pretty asymmetrical, so that's cool to see. Of course I'm excited for the campaign as well, and I think the narrative could be pretty interesting if they do it right. There's some good lore here, and fighting for humanity against technological supremacy and artificial intelligence is truly something that I can get behind. Down with the clankers. Alright, next up, Bar. Now, look, I've got to apologise to you guys. A month or so ago, I made a video about upcoming and exciting RTS games, and as many of you were more than happy to point out, and rightly so, I didn't mention Bar. Now in my head there was a good reason for this. Bar is already out, so why would it be on a list of upcoming strategy games? Well, because it's not out. Actually, it's in alpha, and it's still in active development. But even despite that, if it was technically out, I still should have mentioned it, because it is an utterly fantastic game that more people need to know about. And only until literally everyone interested in RTS games knows, it won't be enough. Bar is amazing for multiple reasons, but there's one that always makes headlines. It's completely free to play. Yes, 100%. No microtransactions, no subscription, no nothing. If you do end up liking the game though, and you want to financially support it, you can do so through its website. Now, while Bar is technically more of a spiritual successor to Total Annihilation rather than Supreme Commander, it of course hits a lot of the same beats, featuring huge scale warfare in real time, a full streaming economy, and naturally, massive robots and lots of them. There are multiple ways to play too, but it's not just a PvP focused game, as you might be led to believe if you just took a passing glance at it on YouTube every so often, by checking out these extremely impressive, massive free-for-all matches. Because skirmish against the AI is a great way to enjoy the game, and that only gets better with friends. There's a ton of flexibility in how you want to play, with 2 diverse factions, lots of AI opponents, and plenty of maps. There's also dedicated co-op modes, which I've gone on a record about before, in saying that they're my favourite part of the game by far, where you and your mates stare down an overwhelming force of aliens or robots until you either kill the final boss or die. And don't think you'll just breeze through this if you've played an RTS before. This is properly difficult, and it will take you quite a few attempts if you're new at it. Even if you do die though, you won't be too upset because of how damn good this game looks. Seeing all these explosions and lasers all over your screen will really feed your caveman brain, as it does for mine. It's just really fantastic. Even more now too, thanks to the big visual overhaul that the game received in the middle of 2025. Bravo indeed. And while the game is still technically an alpha, this is not an alpha like Ashes 2 is. Bar is extremely playable despite that tag, and it's only going to get better from here, with a roadmap on their website looking towards a future Steam release, keeping tabs on where the project is at. Lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Bar community, both the development team and the wider group who are involved with the game. You guys are nothing but welcoming, and as I always try and do when talking about Beyond All Reason, I recommend anyone out there give it a try, even if you're just vaguely interested. It's truly fantastic, and there's links in the description. And if you want to play with me sometime, then Bar is a pretty common game we play in my community Discord. So if you want to join that, then you can sign up to Patreon or YouTube memberships for the minimum amount, $1 a month, and you'll get access to that. And we play about every 6 weeks or so. Okay, next up, Sanctuary Shattered Sun. And for what feels like the first time in my life, I actually have an update for you. Because every time in the last few years that I've mentioned Sanctuary, I've simply had to report that the Kickstarter and public demo were just around the corner. So, I am so happy to report that the Kickstarter and public demo are now officially just around the corner. Okay, the date, yeah. So we do actually have a date now, sort of. We have early to mid 2026. Do I believe that won't slip? I hope so, but also I want the game to be the best it can be. So if those two things aren't congruent with one another, I will graciously accept another delay. But I really do hope there isn't one. It's been so long, I'm so thirsty. Anyway, if you haven't heard of Sanctuary before, then it's being positioned as a true successor to Supreme Commander. Not a tangential RTS like Ashes, not Total Annihilation inspired like Bar, no, a real successor, including everything that made Supreme Commander so great. And I mean, just look at it. If you don't think this screams Subcom, then nothing will. Now, I actually have played Sanctuary already, but only a tiny bit. There was a pre-alpha demo about a year or so ago for their highest tier Patreon supporters, which included a pre-made survival scenario. And while it was fun to a degree, I saw it more as a proof of concept to the game's supporters. Something that said, yes, there is a game actually being built here, and there's steady progress being made on it. Sanctuary isn't just aiming to imitate Supreme Commander though, it has lofty goals of its own, such as big new mechanics focusing on dynamically controlling the weather and being able to literally crack and destroy the ground underneath your feet, as the game is set on a Dyson sphere. They actually demoed this effect recently, and it's looking pretty darn good, I must say. Historically, I was a little skeptical on how they would play this out, but this is looking pretty damn good. Graphically, the game is looking fantastic even now, and I mean, just check out this recent video of a massive robot from the newly announced Tier 5 unit level obliterating absolutely everything in its wake. Like, this is insane. And even with all this chaos and destruction going on, with potentially thousands of units, the game's behind the scenes tech promises to keep things running smoothly, because we all know how Supreme Commander could get when it came to massive late game battles sometimes. The team behind Sanctuary is super dedicated, and I am optimistic that they'll be able to pull this one off. I mean, even Chris Taylor, original creator of Supreme Commander, has given the game his blessing. So, keep your eyes and ears out, and I will let you know once we have something concrete for Sanctuary, hopefully, in the coming months. Once the Kickstarter is up, there will be a video, I promise you that. Okay, the last game I want to tell you about that you can go play right now, if you miss Supreme Commander, then you should check out Supreme Commander. Well, okay, not exactly, but if somehow you haven't heard about Supreme Commander Forged Alliance forever, then this is going to be the best news you've had all week. FAF is a community-led project meant to maintain, manage, and promote Supreme Commander. They host their own multiplayer servers, made their own feature-rich launcher, created custom campaigns that you can play in co-op, and continue to patch the game with balance changes, while also providing access to a wealth of community-made mods to spice up the vanilla experience, among other things. FAF has been around in one form or another since 2011, after the GameSpy servers shut down, and the community decided to take it on themselves to keep the game running. And I gotta say, the community surrounding FAF is one of the best I've ever experienced. Everyone is super welcoming and excited to get new and returning players back into Supreme Commander. Forged Alliance Forever is free to download and use. All you'll need is a copy of the base game on Steam, GOG, or in a good old-fashioned box if you've got one. But if you do want to support the team behind it, then you can donate to them on their website. And can I just say, I think it's pretty awesome that almost half of their donations go towards community tournaments and prizing, as that does wonders for sustaining the community and bringing in more eyes. Like all the other games we've covered today, there is a link in the description to check out Forged Alliance Forever and get online yourself. I would highly recommend you do so if you haven't already, because this is fantastic, and Supreme Commander was just as good as it was 10 or 15 years ago, maybe even better because of these huge monitors we have. But hey, don't just take my word for it. If it's good enough for the tech goat, then it's good enough for you. I reckon you'd be hard pressed to disagree with the fact that we've got a pretty great selection on our hands here. But hey, if you do disagree, leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. With two great games in Beyond All Reason and Forged Alliance Forever that you can play right now, and two exciting upcoming ones in Ashes of the Singularity 2 and Sanctuary Shattered Sun to look forward to, it's a great time to be a fan of chaotic, robotic warfare on a massive scale. No matter if you just want to play co-op with friends, solo comp stomp against the AI, or online PvP with great communities from around the world. But hey, I want to ask you, are there any other examples that I missed that you think I should include? Let me know in the comments, and remember to check the description for links to all the games I've covered today, and please check them out if you're interested. Also, for the upcoming ones, Ashes 2 and Sanctuary, a wishlist on Steam goes a long way, so I'm sure they'd appreciate that as well. And hey, if you'd like to support me and what I do here, then you can via Patreon or YouTube memberships, and you can do it for as little as $1 a month. you'll join all these legends here. Hugely appreciate it. So thank you again so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.